Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Hola.
Yeah.
No any other hellos in it?
Nope.
No? Okay. Like he says, number 29.
Number 29.
One away from 30.
Yep.
And 1 month away from our 1 year.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? Next month will be 1 year. Yes.
I know.
So, once again,
I'm Ian. He's Sean. You knew that.
if you don't, the hell are you watching?
Yeah. Before we get to our thing, I want to say that we've actually been getting some really good viewings. I know you knew that.
Mm-hmm.
We had a strong showing in Germany.
Yep.
As always,
England.
That's not a surprise.
In Ireland, too.
Ireland.
Ireland.
Nice.
So, we all start off, once again, we always sometimes veer off. This is a wrestling thing. Veer off a little bit. This past week and a half, we fit to deaths in the entertainment business. First was Big C, Clarence Clemens, the famous saxophone player from Springsteen.
E Street Band
passed away from complications of a stroke he had. So he was 69 years old, and he recently worked with Lady Gaga. Recently.
Wow.
So he was very well known. But if you love Springsteen, you know who Big C is.
Yeah.
So he will be missed, and also hit hard to me, especially. So I am a huge fan of Jackass, the franchise. Ryan Dunn. If you don't know who that is, you are definitely a jackass. Ryan Dunn passed away at 34 when he, was in a fatal car crash, and most people, are bashing him because he was driving drunk. That being aside, the guy's gone.
Yeah.
And Roger Ebert, bad timing on your tweet that you put on.
Roger Ebert, we got it right. It's right here. Okay.
Yeah, Roger Ebert, you had your jaw cancer, you have no more jaw, you can't speak anymore. That's fine. But the tweet you put on, friends don't let jackasses drive drunk, a little more too soon.
Yeah.
So, off.
Yeah, and it's just like what Hogan, said and got a lot of heat for when he said about Randy.
Yeah.
And then the WWE doing that whole angle with
the car crash.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Really?
Yeah. What bothered me, once again, I did see a report. Bam Margera, who was Ryan Dunn's best friend, practically his brother, it was on the news. Crying, he couldn't control himself. No, you can't really blame the guy.
Heck no.
What bothered me was the news reporter after the Bam Margera interview you did, saw that fans and non-fans, basically people in the community of West Goshen, Pennsylvania, I think I got the city right, was going into the crash site and picking up parts of Ryan Dunn's crashed Porsche.
You mentioned that to me earlier.
Yeah, they're picking up the parts and thinking about selling them on eBay. Now, if that doesn't disgrace someone's memory,
that's disrespectful.
Come on. Even reporters even agreed.
Yeah.
That's disgraceful.
That's just disrespectful.
That's distasteful. That's moronic and stupid.
Yeah, it's pretty damn stupid.
So I hope, because in the cops that is illegal to do. Mm-hmm. So if they find you, you deserve to be punished, jail, or whatever. Because God. Sorry.
You do it, you're going to get busted, and you're going to have some nice little bracelets.
Yeah.
Nice little bracelets.
Not bedazzled.
No.
So anyway, Big C, Clarence Clemens, Ryan Dunn, rest in peace, Ryan Dunn. Swing from the clouds, don't fall. So anyway, showtime now.
Yep.
Now I did say on a Facebook post on our group page, Wrestling Unfiltered from YouTube on Facebook. We need more people to join, please.
Yeah.
I did say that we're going to focus on a topic that's happened 10 years ago. Seriously.
Wow.
It's been 10 years. That is the invasion of the Alliance, which is WCW and ECW, which was indefinitely, where the hell are you going?
Something drink.
Yeah. Hey, cheers. Anyway, the invasion storyline, which was back then, it kind of helped a bit because it brought more people into WWE who were pretty much jobless after WCW and ECW closed down. It all started with Shane McMahon bought WCW.
We all remember that night. It was they were in Panama City, and Shane McMahon walked out, and it
was a simulcast.
It was a simulcast, and said, "I have bought WCW."
Yeah.
The name says McMahon, but it doesn't say Vince. It says Shane. And then that led into WrestleMania 17 when Vince and Shane had their match, which wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't bad. It was just...
The ending was good when Shane did the coast-to-coast jump.
Yeah.
And that's probably the highlight.
Rob Van Dam started that one, though.
Yeah, pretty much. The Van Terminator. No, Van Daminator. No,
Van Terminator.
Van
Terminator, yeah.
Ugh, can never get that name right.
Battles your skull.
Yeah. So, with that being said, after WrestleMania, you had some instances where former WCW stars appeared on Raw or SmackDown.
The very first one was
Hugh Morris. It was Hugh Morris.
Hugh Morris?
He was the first one. Build him on.
Well, the first man to capture gold from the WWE was...
Mike Awesome.
Mike Awesome.
Yeah. He showed up in WWE's Hallowed Ground, which was Madison Square Garden. So
won the hardcore title from Rhino.
Yeah. And then Lance Storm shows up. He super kicks Perry Saturn, I believe. And then see Sean O'Hare and Chuck Palumbo show up. And then Booker T shows up at King of the Ring. And screws Austin, bashes Austin, whatever. So, and that leads into, some WCW beating up Kane and Jericho, I believe, was one instance on Raw. Then you had Raven, Taz, Dudley Boys, and Justin Carnival come out. They were former ECW alums, but at that time they were contracted with WWE. They came out. Actually, also Dreamer and RVD were there too. So
Dreamer and RVD jumped the rail.
They're the ones who were beating up on Jericho and Kane. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, turn around.
Yep. They all flipped.
They mauled.
Now
Paul Heyman goes in the ring, and what does he say?
No, we just took the
invasion to the extreme.
Yep.
But people thought, ECW was the one gonna, show up WCW. So then you see WCW, ECW gonna fight. No, they hug. An alliance is formed. I'm thinking, wait a minute, Shane McMahon runs the WCW. Does Paul Heyman run ECW? No. Who is now chosen to be the owner of ECW?
Steph.
Yep.
Stephanie.
Pre-implant.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, she looked good.
She's always looked good.
Yeah. Nothing bad, Hunter. Sorry.
So, good choice.
Yeah, Philly, yeah. Anyway, so Shane and Stephanie vow to crush WWE, crush their family's legacy. Quotes. Remember, it's a storyline.
Storyline.
It wasn't real.
It was one. It was a work.
It's not a shoot. So then the Invasion pay-per-view comes about. Now what we're gonna do is play bookers. We're gonna go over some of the key matches in every pay-per-view from the Invasion angle, from the Invasion pay-per-view up until Survivor Series. We're gonna look at some of the main events, some of the matches that should have never been booked, maybe some of the matches that could have been redone a little bit, and give our 2 cents into it. Let's go into Invasion pay-per-view. We both agree the referee's match.
Has to go.
Scrap.
Yeah.
That was more of a comedic flavor. Hebner and Nick Patrick, Earl Hebner and Nick Patrick, and Mick Foley was the referee.
Hand me the book.
Yeah. Let me see here.
Now I've got the list down of all the people that were WCW, WWE. But the thing is, we're going to start from the Invasion pay-per-view. Now, the first match was booked as
the tag team match.
Tag team match. It was Edge and Christian versus Lance Storm and Mike Awesome. And now we all know that Edge and Christian got the W in that match. But I don't have a problem with that match.
No.
Honestly, it wasn't that bad.
No. I honestly, I kind of think Lance Storm. I think Mike Awesome should have been replaced. In that sense, no disrespect to him, but Storm and Edge know each other so well. So do him and Christian, because they're from Canada.
All three of them are from Canada.
But Mike Awesome, Mike Awesome is a damn good, big man who flies like a damn cruiserweight.
Athletic big
man. But would you scrap Mike Awesome? Or would you keep him in that match?
I thought I would keep him in that match.
Okay.
But building up heat for it, Lance had said that he didn't want to have to deal with all the
shenanigans
and all the humor of the Edge and Christian, because ENC could get it done in the ring, but they didn't have a problem cutting the joke, you know.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
5-second post.
The 5-second post, but you got to go back and some of the stuff they did in Memphis when they came out. I mean, some of that stuff they did was it was hilarious.
With the big cowboy hats and
yeah, or the walking those are really big Elvises. You know, they knew that you have to entertain as well as
In the ring, they could get it done in the ring.
Yeah.
They
multiple time tag team champions.
Like 7 times.
Let's
see.
So Lance comes out and says, if I can be serious for a minute, we're not here to have the, this is about a sport. This is not about, joking around and shenanigans and I want to wrestle. That's what I do. That's what we do. That's what we do better than anybody.
But before he can finish,
Edge and Christian's music hits. They come down to the ring.
He's like,
I love the match only because it was a good chance to see what Lance could do with some guys who could work like him.
Yep.
But the only beef I have with Mike Awesome is that I was thinking he was, it seemed to me, maybe I'm wrong, but he kind of gassed out. Yeah. Edge and Christian moved at a pretty fast pace.
And Christian was taking a beating too.
Yeah, Christian, he got beat up, but what I would say, I would want to keep that.
Okay.
The same way, have Edge and Christian go over.
Yep.
They were over at that point in time.
Oh yeah.
And
then moreover, because the crowd then was pro WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a few WCW.
It was mostly WWE.
Yeah, definitely. Now, like we said, the next match was the referee's match. Scrap it.
Now, what would I want to put in this place? ECW really didn't get a chance to really show off what it was about, with the exception of the Hardy Van Dam match.
Mm-hmm. They had three one-on-one matches where they had ECW alums. They had Raven versus Regal,
which was
Taz and Tajiri.
But they had faced before in ECW too, so they knew what they were doing.
And then that's about it.
So
and then Van Dam and Hardy.
Van Dam and Hardy.
So
what would we put in this place?
The referee's match. Now let's see. ECW. The Dudleys and Rhino were already in the inaugural brawl, which is the main event.
Taz had a match.
Dreamer did not have a match.
So who would I put up against
Dreamer and Just Incredible.
How about this?
Thinking.
Instead,
Now make it a one-on-one match, not a tag team match. Because you want to go straight. Because the third match was another tag team match with APA and Palumbo and O'Hare.
Because the APA and Palumbo and O'Hare were busy.
Yeah. I would think was put Tommy Dreamer. Hear me for a second. Tommy Dreamer was probably the toughest guy in ECW. Put him against Hardcore Holly. Tough and tough. Could work. He's APA.
That's right.
Ron Simmons. Mm-hmm. He's pointing at Ron Simmons.
Yeah.
Hello.
Farouk. So.
My opinion, I think, but Dreamer versus Holly. A throw-in match. But the thing is, each match, not every match, a lot was being built up. Yeah. I mean, the inaugural Raw was built up as
Yeah, but that's the WWE. They always hype up their main events more than they do the undercard.
Of course. I mean, sometimes they do. I mean, APA. The thing with APA, the third match, I believe. APA versus Chuck Palumbo and Sean O'Hare, which in this case, APA was WWE Tag Team Champions. O'Hare and Palumbo were WCW Tag Team Champions. No titles on the line, just tag team versus tag team. APA was like leading the fight.
Yeah.
Bradshaw, how vocal he was.
Yes. Now, Holly versus Dreamer.
Could work.
Yeah.
Or you want to think about that for a minute?
Let me think about that.
Because there wasn't many ECW alums in the invasion. Let's see.
Taker and Kane were busy in the inaugural Raw.
Soul's Angle and Jericho.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rhino was busy. Just Incredible. He didn't have a match. Thinking. I'll just get back to that one.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
But next to APA and Palumbo and O'Hare. Decent. Like I said, gave Palumbo and O'Hare a chance to work with a tough team.
You're gonna shock you with this one.
Oh shit.
Palumbo and O'Haire come out and start cutting a promo about, you know, they were the best team in WCW. That's why they've got the titles.
Yeah.
You know.
And after they beat.
And after they beat
DDP and Nash for those belts.
Well, after they beat Page and Nash, they became, you know, the best, you know, tag team, which is really hard to say because at that point there wasn't really that many tag teams that were really that good. You know.
And especially WCW was.
At that point in time.
Yeah.
And then Bradshaw and Farouk come out, you know, start fighting with them. And we all know that Bradshaw and Farouk won the match.
Yeah.
Right? Well, and the way I want to book it is that they lose. But they don't lose. O'Haire and Palumbo don't win clean.
Yeah.
You know?
They win, you know,
they win
underhanded win.
An underhanded win.
Okay.
Which is again building up heat for the heels. At that point, you want to try and build up heat. You want the people to start saying. Yeah,
because that's the thing that you mentioned the build up. Because pretty much the first matches were all wins by WWE. No alliance wins.
No.
And until you got Kidman and X-Pac, which we'll talk about that right now. Actually.
I want to keep on. Palumbo. Super kick.
And could he deliver one?
He super kicks Bradshaw. Bradshaw is the legal man.
Yeah.
You know, Ron Simmons turns around, at clothesline from O'Haire. You know, takes Ron down. Sets him up, Shanton bomb. O'Haire pins Palumbo, pins Farouk. 1, 2, 3. You're new winner. You're winners. Then you see Bradshaw say, "Hey, I was the legal man," but who's the ref?
Teddy Long.
Nick Patrick.
Teddy
Long.
Teddy Long was a referee, and Nick Patrick was beat up. Oh yeah, we scrapped the match. Sorry.
Yeah, Nick Patrick's the
referee.
It's a referee.
He's the most. Yeah.
He's a WCW referee, so Yeah. So he makes the count for them. They win. Screw job.
And he clearly sees that Farouk is not the legal man.
He sees
tag
Bradshaw. He sees John Layfield tag Ron Simmons. He sees Bradshaw tag Farouk. Okay,
Bradshaw's in. But he gets knocked out.
He gets knocked out. Super kick. Shanton bomb. Palumbo covers him because Palumbo's the legal man for that side. Screw job win. Nick Patrick is Farouk's down. He's down. He's selling the beating. Bradshaw, he's up. He's pissed. Boom! Clothesline from hell.
Down deep from hell.
Then Nick Patrick, he's down. So they're down. No, they're
out.
He's out. We'll get to why in a minute. Now, next match was. You said.
It was
X-Punk and Kidman. That match sucked.
Kidman won.
But that match was
good. Your distaste for Waltman is.
Not just my distaste, yeah, but it was just for the match itself stunk.
Okay, next.
Now.
Next, I believe was Regal and Raven.
But I want to go back to X-Punk and Kidman.
Okay. We have to.
But I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Now, in the time that they were in WWE, the Alliance was, they had the light heavyweight title that was actually active at that point in time, I believe.
The WWE had the light heavyweight title.
Light heavyweight title.
WCW still had their cruiserweight title.
Cruiserweight title. You had two titles that were at a point in time being contested. Well, I honestly don't like that. I think that if you're going to have two titles, one of them needs to go.
Yeah.
They did that with the Divas title and the Women's title. You made the wrong decision, WWE.
Thank you.
But,
But we like Kelly Kelly as champion now.
Yes, very much so.
Anyway.
So let's just have a thing where they're going to combine the titles on that
pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view.
Okay.
And so we have Funaki, Spike, Tajiri had a match.
He had a match. Just Incredible. He's a Jerry Lynn.
And we're putting Jerry Lynn into the ECW because That's where he earned his. That's where he got his first title.
Yep.
Was in ECW.
Yep.
Even though
and he won a light heavyweight title in WWE.
And he has real heat with Sean Waltman.
Oh.
Yeah, he has real heat. He's had a rivalry with him for quite a number of years, so that's something you can add to it.
All right.
Then you also had who else did not have it? Shane Helms.
Yeah.
Jamie Noble.
What if they brought Evan Courageous? Never mind. Underrated, but
yeah, very underrated.
Shit. What about fucking? Was it
Crash?
Crash. The Young Dragons they had. Was it Kaz and
Kaz Hayashi and
Jimmy Yang?
Jimmy Yang. Never really took that with him.
Jimmy Wang Yang.
And now, Cruiserweight Open kind of thing. Okay? You also have somebody show up that night. You did not know he was going to show up until that night.
Who's that?
Chavito. Chavo Guerrero is the unknown man who's going to be, and you're saying why Chavo? Chavo Guerrero is an excellent fucking wrestler. If you guys don't know that, you're idiots. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Watch what he did back in, his rivalry with Shane Helms was really, really good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that match, I thought that was a really great match at the last Nitro, him and Shane Helms. But Shane Helms doesn't come in as the Hurricane. He was injured. He was supposed to be doing the Sugar Shane Helms thing. And remember that you told me that?
Yeah, I think so.
And so he comes in as Sugar Shane Helms. There's been a rivalry between him and Chavo. There's been a rivalry between X-Pac and Jerry Lynn. It goes on for about, 20 minutes? 15, 20 minutes?
Yep.
And your new unified light heavyweight champion, is, who are we going to pick?
Good question.
Should we go WWE or Alliance at this point?
At this point, I would go with the Alliance because with the fact that WWE had won the matches so far. And to me, I would pick an Alliance member. I would pick Kidman.
Kidman?
Yeah. That's just me.
So we'll stick with the original outcome.
But Kidman's a unified champion.
Yeah, he's a unified champion. He's.
Oh, what if they brought Ultimate Dragon in?
Yeah.
Not misused, by the way. But anyways, yeah, Kidman, unified cruiser light, whatever.
Light heavyweight champion, because now they're recognizing the light heavyweight champion.
Yeah. All right. So next.
Regal.
And Raven. Yeah. Next. Honestly, Regal. I mean, he's tough as nails.
He's an amazing wrestler.
Raven. The reason they made the match was because Raven destroyed his office when he was commissioner. That's about it.
Yeah, Scott Levy's a great wrestler.
And a great mind.
Yes, very much so.
That's genius man. But I think Regal. Let me think. Let's see. Regal was WWE, so.
No, Regal.
Before that, he was the WWE commissioner.
He was WWE. That's right.
So I think. Jesus.
Canyon.
Canyon was in a 6-man tag.
That's right.
So was Bill DeMott, and so was Sean Stasiak. He was in Inaugural Brawl.
He was, wasn't he?
And he had a thing with Taker. See, I remember this stuff. He was already in a match.
Okay, that's right.
Lord, wake up.
We don't have many people.
I know. Okay, well, I would just scrap the match. How's that?
No, yeah, well, we'll have to go with Raven.
It's the only one that's left.
Yeah. Regal, Raven. Gonna go with Regal, right?
Yeah. But Raven won.
Regal went by submission, though.
Yeah. But in the original thing, Raven won due to interference from Taz.
But we're gonna go with a submission win for Regal, but not the Regal stretch. I want to see him do an older, something like a variation of the cross-faced chicken wing or something. He's got more than just that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, or if he maybe pulls out the Regalplex.
Ooh.
You know.
Ouch.
But we'll go with Regal for the win.
All right.
Maybe a submission win, and I have an idea how to build that up for that.
Okay.
So it's a submission win. Raven taps. Raven actually taps.
Which is very, very rare.
Which is very, very rare. And doing that, he starts beating Regal down. Tajiri comes out. You know, sprays mist in Raven's eyes, kicks him in the head. You know, Raven's out. Here comes Taz. We go right into that match, which is an old ECW trick.
Yep.
And we go right into that match, and this is going to be a heavy brawl. It's going to be brutal.
Yeah.
And it's going to probably be pretty bloody. You know, and they go for about 10.
I say 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Okay.
And it's a fight. It's not a match. It's a fight.
Pretty much.
And
I say, and Tajiri originally wins. I think. Would you give Taz the edge in that one?
I would say it's probably no contest.
Because referee lost control, say?
Referee lost control.
It was so out of control, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just goes
no,
crazy.
So no contest. Let's see, what else is there? Okay, the six-man tag I brought up, which was Bill DeMott, Canyon, Stasiak against Big Show, Albert, and Billy Gunn. I don't know.
WCW won that one, didn't they?
Yeah, pretty much.
They won that one.
And then Big Show debuted his alley-oop maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
Which was, didn't look all that good.
I would say, what would you say? WCW or Alliance or
Alliance?
Alliance. We'll stay with it.
Man.
Stick with the
yeah.
And this one's clean win. You know, the WCW the Alliance goes over WWE, clean win. I can't remember what the how'd they go home in that one.
I have no idea, and really don't care.
But you know that one was a clean win.
Pretty much, yeah.
We'll give it to the little.
It was a little confusing a bit.
Yeah.
Toward the end, so.
We're gonna give that one to the Alliance, clean win, which sets up.
Bra and panties match.
Bra and panties match.
No brainer there. Don't scrap that one.
No, we're not scrapping that one. That's simply for the guys. And well, we're never lied about that.
We all win about that.
Yeah.
So who cares?
We all win there.
Yeah. Next, inaugural brawl. Oh wait, no, we missed a freaking RVD Hardy match.
RVD Hardy match.
Wow.
We're keeping that one as is.
No brainer.
No brainer, because that one was...
No changing. No, RVD wins a hardcore title.
Yeah.
I mean, damn.
No changing it, no added in stipulation or anything. We're keeping it as is. That was a great fucking match. Enough said there.
Next. Now the inaugural brawl.
Inaugural brawl. Taker, Kane,
Angle, Jericho, Austin,
at
the time, against Booker T, Rhino, Dudley's, and DDP.
DDP.
Okay. Now at this point, DDP was drawing, heat from Taker because DDP was the stalker at Taker's at that time, his wife Sarah.
Yeah.
Not at that time.
At that time.
Yeah. Well, by the way, who's a better choice?
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, so DDP reveals as a stalker. Says he's using Taker to get to the top of the business. Good choice, bad choice.
I would say they needed to do more work with that angle.
They should have. And they ended it at SummerSlam after that cage match, but
Paige got beat.
Beat
up. But this is going to be interesting because Sean and I talked about this something earlier, and it's going to happen in this match. Now, inaugural brawl. We're going to change this around and make it. Do you want to do anything to it? Like possibly making it an elimination match? Kind of like a Survivor Series style?
Nah. I would leave it as a 10-man tag. I mean, Vince was in his WWE's corner, and Shane, Stephanie, Paul were there too. They got involved.
Yeah.
Shane and Vince.
We want the outcome to stay the same.
Yeah, Austin turning
on everybody.
Which, in fans' minds, shocking.
But during the melee that is going on, Paige comes out with a chair and just blasts Taker.
Yeah.
Taker's down, out.
Good night.
Done. He is out. So, and that's not a hard thing that's a very hard thing, I should say.
Yes, it's not a hard, very hard thing.
Very hard thing to do. But Taker, being Taker, sells it.
Yeah. I mean, at that time he was the American Badass, not the Dead Man.
So he's gone.
Yeah.
For a while, because later on, and we'll get to that in a second, what happened. Okay, Austin does turn,
Yeah, but see, at the time during the melee, somehow he injures his knee, so he's out of it for a few minutes, and then this is what happens for real. Angle was like red hot. He's taking on everybody. Angle slams Booker, puts him in the ankle lock, and Booker's about to tap out. Austin throws the referee in there. Jared says, "That's the right thing to do."
But the reason, I want to change one thing. When Austin hurts his knee, this is how we're going to change it a little bit.
Okay.
Canyon runs in, Angle catches him, Jeremy suplexes him over, and when he lands, he hit somehow he hits Steve. Steve's leg hits the rope, bounces off, and hurts his knee.
Ouch.
Sells it like that. Not really. Sells it like that.
Yeah.
And Austin falls down, rolls out. Now he's dealing with his knee.
The trainer's out.
Yeah.
So Angles goes on to what he's doing. Say the Dudleys come and try to do anything, but Angle fights them off. To a T. And DDP, and he's gone pretty much. He's like Waffles Taker.
Yeah.
Put it that way. Kane, Jericho and Rhino are down.
Yeah.
I think they went to the table. I think. Say, what is it?
Booker and Kane.
Say Rhino. He gores Jericho on the floor.
Right.
Hurts like hell. Here comes Kane. Choke slams Rhino through the table, and then Booker before that does this kick on Kane, just knocking one after the other.
I mean, finisher.
So Booker's the last one standing. Angle's in the ring. Okay, goes in. He's gonna waffle Angle. Angle surprisingly throws an Angle slam. And
beautiful too.
Pulls at the stretch. He's like, gets the crowd all riled up.
Like he does.
And then gets that ankle lock. He's locking it. And Austin sees what's happening. He's like, oh, gotta get the referee in there because the referee's been knocked out. Throws the referee in there.
But the referee that was refereeing the match, and the way we were going to be booking it, is Earl. Earl gets waffled.
Yeah.
He takes a ref bump.
Yep.
He's down. Who comes down but his son, Brian?
Who was a WCW referee at the time.
Yeah. But
don't know why.
But let's just say that he was, I'm going to rebook and say that he was a WWE referee.
Okay.
New referee.
But
he flips.
Yeah, but see, nobody knows who he was.
Yeah.
So.
But it adds heat because he's a heavier.
Yeah.
And.
Yeah.
So. Nick Patrick's down. He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. That little. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But Austin does his thing, turns on everybody.
And then of course you got, since Brian Hebner is supposed to be the WWE guy.
Yeah, he sees Austin like.
And then he takes off the ref shirt. WCW 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So now you've got another referee. Austin just switched. Taker's is down, and which leads us into Raw. Okay. Now at the top of Raw, we get a bumper showing what happened in the inaugural brawl.
Yeah, the highlights.
The highlights of it, Austin turning, and all the action, as much as they can fit into that little bit of space.
Yeah.
The major hot points.
They will show, they will cut it and to see that the Alliance dominating.
Yeah.
Because the Alliance was victor in the inaugural brawl apparently.
Basically, yeah.
So they'll cut out snippets of the Alliance doing their thing. So was going Raw, going live. Out comes Shane, Stephanie, and Paul.
Alliance music hits, which was Bodies by Drowning Bolt.
Pretty much. So they all come out and you'll say, say Paige is on the mic first. Told you I was going to use Taker, knock him out, take out the biggest, baddest dog in the yard. I did that.
Biggest, baddest dog in the yard. He's gone. And
Booker gets on the mic.
Shane says, that Taker has sustained a grade 3, concussion. He won't be coming back anytime soon. Hey, wait for it.
Boom.
No, wait for it.
Yeah. But what's like I said, it all gets stuff. Austin comes out by his own music. Chorus of booze.
Chorus.
I mean,
with the title
arena.
too.
Yeah, he still has the title.
Still has the title.
But the whole arena.
Just booing him.
Usually you hear that music.
Yeah. Yeah, just instant booze.
Yeah, so...
And Austin gets on the mic and does what he does best.
Says he doesn't... The only reason he did it, because he wasn't appreciated enough by WWE. He wasn't loved. You know, he was doing a whole love thing. Like,
you know, he wasn't loved by the WWE. He wasn't loved, you know, he wasn't shown, you know...
Shown enough love.
A love or appreciation by the fans and by Vince and everybody.
I mean, we expected him to be like Barry Man, like, show me some love, motherfucker, show me some love.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But he, you know, he says, I wasn't appreciated enough by the WWE. I have to, you know, I was
doing what was best for me.
I was doing what's best for me. I've always been, you know, the guy who did what was right. And, you know, now I'm going to take care of myself. And,
yep.
You know, I have to look out for myself now.
So, he becomes the leader of the Alliance. He wants to show leadership by example. Boy, how did he? He's whipping everybody.
During the course, he's talking to all of the Alliance members and, you know, trying to, you know, congratulating the ones that won, you know, harassing the ones that lost.
Or the ones that just suck.
Or the ones just don't. It was like, you know.
They didn't show Austin enough, pretty much. Even say they won, but Austin, that's not enough.
Yeah.
You didn't show me nothing.
And then all of a sudden, Vince's music comes out. And then Vince comes out with Jericho, who is still selling the gore. You know, who is selling the effects of it, even though it's been
24 hours.
24 hours. He's still selling it a bit. Comes out with Big Show, with Kane, and Angle. Big Show, of course, wasn't in the inaugural Brawl, but he is a big guy and can, you know.
Edge and Christian comes out.
Edge and Christian, and
APA.
The APA come out with him.
But still, they're still kind of outnumbered, though. It's about 8-10 guys. Alliance has like 25.
And Vince starts saying, you know, you're right. You did win last night, but only because he, you know, forgot who he was. You know.
Talking about Austin.
Talking about Austin. He said, Vince says, I helped make you. You know.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who you were before you came to the WWE. I helped to make you.
It's true.
Yeah, these people, you know, may have made you, but I helped to make who you are. And Vince says, you know, if it hadn't been for the WWE, you never would have been Stone Cold. And Vince start going on a little.
He would said, if it wasn't for WWE, you would still be a mid-Carter.
Yeah. You still would have been in that. You know, you probably still would have been in that bingo hall in South Philadelphia. You know, you still would have been selling, you know, tickets to about 100 people. Where when you came here, you were selling out arenas.
20,000.
And 20,000 people. You know, and
so they do a little tirade back and forth.
Back and forth. You know, everybody has something to say. Big Show saying, "Yeah, I lost last night." You know, but we also lost possibly one of the greatest, you know, locker room leaders in Taker. You know, Kane gets on the mic and says, "You know, I'm coming for every single one of you. I don't care who it was. I'm coming for all of you, and you took out my brother."
Yeah.
Jericho saying, "You know, I'm gonna get, you know." Jericho does a promo about Stephanie. You know, of course, because it was this great stuff back then.
That was great.
He starts talking about how I'm going to take care of Rhino. Everybody's setting up matches for, you know, that.
But Angle focuses on Austin.
Angle and Austin.
Because Angle said, you screwed me over. Yeah. You know, not only did you screw the company that helped make you, but you screwed me over. Biggest mistake you can make.
You know, and that sets up the feud that we want to see for a little bit.
Yeah.
Angle and Austin.
And that match at SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. And Unforgiven. Let's go.
Yeah, I want to. Now let's just focus on this because this is an appropriate. This Raw, the next few Raws we have to concentrate on. Mm-hmm. SmackDowns too, but these Raws that we have to concentrate on because this is going to set up SummerSlam.
Okay.
Now, leading into this, first match of the night is going to be O'Haire and Palumbo versus the Hardys.
Okay.
Matt and Jeff with Lita.
Okay.
With Lita, who's coming up a little bit hot because she and Trish had a win.
Yeah.
So you want her on the card.
Yeah.
You know, even if she's just being a manager, valet, what have you, she still gets seen, and people that
And
we're happy.
And focus on our thongs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is pre, getting what she looked like when she joined Edge.
Yeah.
So Hardy's, Palumbo, and O'Haire. And before the match happens, Matt gets the mic and says, "You were the best in WCW, but we were some of the best. We fought some of the best here in WWE. We made it the ladder match important.
Yeah.
The
TLC match.
Yeah, we set the bar with that ladder match. We fought Edge and Christian and got a standing O.
What have you done?
What have you done? Talking about the Terry Invitational.
Yeah.
So he says, if you truly want to be the best, you're going to have to beat us. And let's make this a better match. Let's make it for those WCW tag team titles.
Interesting.
Let's make it so we'll put up something with our pride, but you put those up.
Two things that are important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So.
Palumbo goes, okay, we'll do it. Let's send that little winch of yours to the back, so that way nobody can interfere. Because we want it to be a.
But Matt did that infuriates Matt at the time.
No, infuriates Matt, but he says we're going to do this clean because we don't cheat. We know you're going to cheat with her.
Oh, they say that.
Yeah, they're trying to look like they're the heels.
Yeah.
So that gets a round of boos because Lita is loved.
Favorite. Yeah.
And she's one of their favorites. So the match goes on, and Palumbo they go for the same move that they did with
last night at
the end, but it doesn't get over.
No.
Referee is Chioda.
Mike Chioda.
Mike Chioda.
He recognizes.
He recognizes. He says no. He's the one. Palumbo turns around right into a twist of fate.
The Jet is a swanton.
Swanton bomb. And
Matt's the legal man.
Matt's the legal man.
Pins Palumbo.
So they get the extreme. They get the extreme combination.
Yep.
And Matt pins Palumbo 1, 2.
Wait.
Kick out.
Oh.
Kicks out. Palumbo.
Matt's like.
Yeah. Palumbo gets up. Goes to super kick Jeff. Jeff ducks. Palumbo super kicks O'Haire.
Oh.
Down. He turns around. Second twist of fate.
Like you hit me like.
Like that. O'Haire's down. So, second twist of fate. This time, this one's a little bit stiffer. And then Matt drags Palumbo to the middle of the ring. And he's looking, Jeff's looking, he's about to go, and he goes, He goes, like this.
Tandem offense.
Pride and Glory.
Ah.
The leg drop.
And
body
splash.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, bang.
1, 2, 3. Pride and Glory.
WCW.
Yeah, tag team champions. Now, this is why I say that. Now, the WWE lost the title, the hardcore title. Mm-hmm. WWE has taken some titles from WCW and the WCW tag team titles.
Yep.
So now you're starting to see what's going on. They're starting to.
You're starting to see WWE superstars taking WCW titles.
Mm-hmm.
So it happens so often. People lose track of who had belts, whatever.
The people just went from a really low with what happened with Austin and everything. You want to bring them up here.
Yeah, you want to start off when you have a low impact maneuver like what Austin did. You kind of want to build it back up, especially with the WWE crowd. So you want to build it with your favorites to have a big win, especially if it's the first match of the night.
Yeah.
It's called build-up, it's called momentum. Now sometimes that momentum can shift somehow, can go down, but sometimes it can get built back up, depending on how it's booked. Especially what we're doing here. Now let's fast forward a little bit, the return of The Rock. He comes back from a 4-month hiatus, film with Scorpion King, but he comes back.
Yeah. Austin and Angle is not your main event tonight. It's not.
No.
Because you don't want to give them that right off, because then you just shot your wad, and what have you got for the pay-per-view? Nothing.
Nothing. So with Rock coming back, you got to make it the main event.
You have to make it the main event. But before that happens, Shane and Stephanie and Heyman, just the three of them, come out, and they're cutting a promo, again saying, we don't care, they want to come out and say, we don't care, how long it takes. We're going to take back the titles. Talking about the WCW tag team titles.
Yeah.
And as they're doing this and saying, well, we're going to, actually no, that's how we'll do it. They come out to answer the fact that the WCW tag team titles. And they said, there's nobody who can stop us. If you smell. Yeah.
And if you notice, location change. That's why I'm looking back here.
Yeah, this is his house.
Yeah. So anyway, let's do that. Nope. Nobody can stop us. Roxby's place. I mean, then you hear the pop
of hell. Blow the roof.
Just like when Rock came back, when he was announced as the host of WrestleMania 27. That pop.
Yeah. That was definitely a Road Warrior pop.
Yeah. So Rock comes out, but the thing is, beforehand it was being teased as whether is he gonna stay with WWE or join the Alliance. And if he was joining the Alliance, that would have been a major blow.
Huge coup.
Yeah. Huge coup for the Alliance, major blow for the WWE.
Rock comes out and actually walks to the ring, gets in the ring. We all know that Rock's not afraid of a fight. Of course, the only one who would get a fight from is Shane. Well, we know his track record with Rock. In the real time, we know his track record. It hasn't been exactly great.
Nah, not really.
So he walks to the ring, and he's eyeing. He's just boring. He goes and poses on the ropes like he does. And he just turns his head and starts boring holes through all three of them, especially dead at Shane's. And
a little bit past Steph's implants.
Yeah, he's looking at Stephanie and Heyman, but
that laser.
Yeah, he's focusing on Shane, and he gets a mic and he goes, "Whoa!" And he's doing that little way that he looks.
He's like,
"Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! You have achieved nothing yet."
Excuse me, 1 second. Finally, where the hell they are.
Yeah.
But you're saying you've achieved a lot in this business, something like that,
You achieved a lot last night.
Well, The Rock says you achieved nothing but stupid up monkey crap. Or something, whatever. Monkey crap promo.
You want to associate yourself with some guy who ran a bunch of matches, and talking about where Heyman ran ECW, he starts running that down a little bit.
You want to talk about a guy who ran matches in a place where all you gotta say to cheer people and say I-35? N19? B5? Oh, it doesn't matter, you still suck!
Yeah. And he says, Shane, Stephanie, you grew up in this business. Your grandfather will be rolling in his grave right now if he knew what you were doing. He's looking at you going, oh, God, I made a mistake,
Yeah.
He starts talking about the history of the company and running them down, how they're trying to destroy what their grandfather and great-grandfather had built from the basic beginnings. And we're not going to get into it right now, but if you know your history, thank goodness. If you don't, we're not going to give it to you.
Yeah, look it up.
Yeah. And he's kind of just running them down, and Shane and Stephanie, at this point, Heyman's just like,
I'm shutting up.
Yeah, he's got nothing. He's just shocked that he's that close, and to The Rock, he's got nothing to say, And not that Paulie's ever been at a loss for words, because he never has. But they continue that little tete-a-tete that they're doing.
Yeah.
And then, The Rock says, what are you going to do about it? You've got The Rock, you've got still, Vince McMahon, you've got all the WWE. And it doesn't matter what you think you can do, because The Rock's going to tell you what you are going to do. And then you're going to take this little alliance, shine it up.
Not real nice.
Turn that some bitch
sideways, and stick it straight up all your candy asses.
And then, of course, Austin comes running down, to face The Rock.
Yeah, like fake.
He gets about like that close to Rock. And we all know the history. And Rock's just standing there, he's just, ready to go.
Yeah.
And he looks like he might just join the alliance. And all of a sudden, lights go down. Goes black.
Oh.
The gong hits. The symbol appears on the Tron. and then boom, the lights come back up.
Boom.
Austin's laying down. I mean, he's just Rock's out of the ring, and Austin's just laying there.
Yeah.
He's just laying there,
like flat.
Selling it, you know. Shane's down. Stephanie's is up, actually on the
ramp.
The ramp. Just
Heyman's down.
Heyman's down. No one knows what's going on.
So.
And then that's how you leave.
Yeah, it's like a cliffhanger kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Like, what happened? Who did this?
So.
You're thinking it was the Undertaker, but we didn't see the Undertaker.
Yeah. Like, what happened here?
You know, we go to SmackDown.
So, but don't mean to cut you off, but
yeah.
You know, I don't want to draw this out too much.
Mm-hmm.
But let's fast forward to SummerSlam. Okay, we got double main event. You know, Booker T, Rock, Angle, Austin. Can't change those.
No, that was a badass match too.
Yeah, Angle and Austin, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cage match. DDP and Canyon, which was a tag team unification match against Kane and Undertaker. Cage match. Don't change that because DDP got the shit beat out of him.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, remember Taker was gone though.
Yeah, so at that point, yeah.
So.
But you see, the angle was you know, they showed Taker being more of a human, so to speak. Now, if you think about Taker coming back as the dead man, you know, no sense of having Sarah there, obviously.
So but basically what happens is the Raw go home show for that right before. Now they're not going to do this on SmackDown.
No,
they're going to do it. They're going to do this on Raw. Live. Alliance is in the ring. Lights go down after they've said what they needed to say. You know, TDP's talking a bunch of smack how he put Taker out. When the lights come back up, Taker's standing in the ring. But now he's not alone. Oh, yes! You see the reformation of
Paul Bearer.
You see the
urn and everything.
It ends up Taker's getting beat down. Kane runs out. And they reform.
Yeah. So, but with all being said, basically, about the invasion storyline, it was good to a point. It kind of got watered down a bit because you had WWE against WWE sometimes. You had Rock and Jericho.
Oh, that was a great rivalry.
Yeah, because Jericho was, I guess, jealous of the Rock because Rock just came back. All of a sudden, he's all.
Yeah.
You know, Jericho's on a roll, and he still was on a roll, and then you put new people in the alliance. You had Test, who joined the alliance.
Christian.
Great build up with him.
Yeah.
Christian too. You know, was fine separated, and then you had, you know, building up with I don't know, a lot of people. But Lance Storm was an Intercontinental Champion. He got a title reign. RVD was getting more built up.
Yeah.
And Regal turns, and he's commissioner of the alliance. And you come out, Mick Foley is the commissioner thanks to Linda McMahon because Linda fires Regal as the WWE commissioner. It's all a good mix up, you know. But
we could go on for a while for this.
Yeah, but the thing is, otherwise booking needs to focus on what do fans want to see. I don't want to see that. But what do fans want to see? You got to think of what the fans want to see. Do they want to see great wrestling in the ring, great, you know, action, or do they want to see crap? You know, if you want to see crap, just rewind a couple weeks ago from TNA.
No, I mean, it's getting better.
Now it is, but the crap they've been ever since Hogan came in.
A year ago was just horrible.
Yeah, but nowadays, let's talk a little bit about that. You know, basically, the invasion storyline worked for some people, didn't work for all.
The way that we'll be going over what we're going to do with this is going to add a little bit more every time we try and do this. So
yeah,
because if we were to do this, it's going to take a long time. So we're just going to do this in parts.
So yeah, but go to a little bit of Impact Wrestling for a minute. TNA, what you want to call it?
I just call it TNA.
Okay. X Division, no, Destination X coming up. That's easy to say.
Yeah.
They put on a great match with a three-way. Austin Aries, Kid Cash, and Jimmy Rave. Hot damn!
That was a badass match.
That's what we've been waiting to see. We waited too damn long for it.
Yeah.
But we needed it.
Yeah.
You know,
and
Austin Aries won the match. Basically, what they're doing is a series of matches where whoever wins gets a contract into Destination X. until the next match.
They're doing it again tonight.
Yeah, and
tonight is Thursday.
Yeah, and they're doing the 6-sided ring at the pay-per-view.
We should just bring
one night only, 6-sided ring. So
you might want to go.
Yeah. Anyway, weather's getting bad, so if we draw it out too much, ew. So this has been Wrestling.
Wrestling Unfiltered
29. It's not me again. Thank you. Wrestling Unfiltered 29. You know who we are. Good night. Bye bye.
Peace.